So we have our own back office system. This is our back office, so this is how it looks like. And what the team wants to do is to have another tab, another section, right? That might maybe call wayfinding. And then when we click into wayfinding, ideally we'll be redirected to this map here with all the features available. And having all the features available do mean like all the edit functions, being able to edit the shops, being able to edit all the name, and being able to publish anything that needs to be publishing, all the floors, all the data from this. So our understanding is that this URL here is Mapsted's own platform. But what the team would like to do is kind of translate and take everything here that includes, like all the activities, all the edit functions, and integrate it into our own back office platform here. From the conversation with MapPoint Thailand team last time, we understand that it is possible. So maybe, Robbie, you can give us a little bit more insight on how the team is able to do this.
Okay, I think we'll wait. Let me wait till our technical expert comes to be able to explain that to you. They're just coming shortly here. I'm so sorry about this.
Okay, no problem. Then maybe in the meantime, I'll get to my second question first to give you an overview in case you can answer it first. So there's two teams here, right? There's the Thailand team and there's the Hong Kong team, both under MTEL. But right now we are running into an issue where the Hong Kong team is handling the integration and testing, but this map for this client here is in Thailand, and the Hong Kong team is wondering how do we test, right? Because there's route guidance. But from the suggestion from last time is that we are able to, let's say, use some spoofing software to spoof the location to do route guidance. But the Hong Kong teams will not be able to still test live location tracking. For example, like left turn, right turn, go up the elevator, go up one floor by actually walking in the real site. So the question is there any ways for the Hong Kong team to test this map, this feature, this location from where they are at?
I think, you know what, here's the thing. I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm so sorry about this. But in terms of testing, I know our team does a lot of remote testing as well. So let me, I'm just taking some notes here. So when my team member gets here, that I'll be able to, we'll be able to revisit that.
Okay, no problem. So those are the two questions from my end, and let's wait for the remaining team members to get here. Or in the meantime, if anyone else have any questions from the Hong Kong side, feel free to ask as well. We have our own back office and CMS, what we call CMS here. We have a lot of smaller management features, right? For example,
sorry, Michael, just a minute. I believe I just want to confirm, actually, we are recording this aspect, right?
Yes. Well, okay. I'm in the process.
Okay. Thank you.
Hopefully, the software will work as it's intended.
Okay. Okay. Please continue, Michael.
Okay, so we have features such as aircon control, lighting control, sustainability. What the team wants to do is have another tab here. Maybe we call it a Mapsted wayfinding. And once the team click into Mapsted wayfinding, ideally everything that is shown here, the map, the shop details, all the data will be shown in our back office. So we want to be able to integrate all the existing information that you see here that is provided for us into our own back office system. And this would include all the edit functions, all the activities functions, all the publishing, overriding, all the floor plan, everything should be integrated into our own existing CMS. So this is part number one. And to my knowledge, it is possible through some API calls. But what the team have so far is only this set here, which is only the mobile SDK part. And I'm not sure whether there's like a CMS back office integration part that we're missing, or how do we integrate this into our own CMS? Maybe you can shine some light on this.
Got it.
Michael, yes, can I ask a question first? Would it be possible for you to show the interface that you use to update your system?
Sorry, I don't quite understand.
Okay, well, what you're showing is a Mapsted CMS. So already this is in place. So if you wanted to manually update the data, you could go to this and update it. But from what we understand, you have a similar system which shows either a floor plan or a list of customers that you're making update to. For example, if you have a system that handles or records customers' contacts or price per square meter that they're renting from you from. That's the system that you normally work with, right?
Yes, of course. The system is for the current existing application.
Yes.
It's not integrated in any way with Mapsted yet.
Exactly. So that's the system you would work with. And as you make changes to that system, you would want the necessary changes that relates to navigation to go directly to the Mapsted database.
Okay,
Right.
give me a second here. Sorry, Joe, I'm not sure if we can show them click into all of those features and functions.
Okay, so that's what we want to see is how you're handling your database, what procedure you're using, so that we can suggest points where you can link to Mapsted database through API and make the changes. For example, you make name changes in your system.
Yes, understood.
You would not want to click and have the floor plan from Mapsted come up. You would want to directly link to that particular customer via a matching ID or something, and have the API make those changes. That's what I understand. And that's what Param is asking for, is how are you doing that now in your system? Then we can make suggestions.
Yes, understood. Sorry, give me a second here. Sorry, Joe. I'm not sure we can show them everything on that aspect.
So we can show them a little bit or a part of like the shop or promotions, but not related to the customer data, because we have some plenty of data simulation down there.
Okay, no problem. Let's talk about shop then. So for shops, we simply divide into using tables, and all of these are stored in our database. We can edit the names simply by putting in the text field as English, Thais, descriptions, and so on. And the store location is based on tags. There are some images. It's all text fields, and we update it through our as it was mentioned, we want to integrate wayfinding in here. So that is how it works. And all the shops that are shown here does reflect everything that will be shown on the map here as well.
Okay, so you're already making changes. And if I understand correctly, your system is basically tabular. It is not based on a floor plan, because you're showing the Mapsted floor plan.
No, it's independent to one another.
Okay, so it's a tabular system. You don't have floor plan, and you will use the floor plan that Mapsted provides as the visual guide to the update. So if you make changes in your tabular system, you expect it to make the changes in this floor plan, right?
Yes, that would be ideal.
Okay, Param, let me turn that over to you. So I think as we discussed, they have just a part of the system is tabular, and they will depend on the Mapsted for the visual and the navigation map.
I think there are 2 points here. One, in regards to the application that you were showing us before, we can have a part like Mapsted, kind of like a button on the left-hand side, right? And then when you click on it, we can call the entire Manage CMS as an iframe inside this application. So the entire user interface that you see right now in manage.mapsted, you will be able to see everything inside your own application. Because in that way, you are able to kind of like manage or edit any aspect within the same application. We will just do the authentication inside your app. So we are not doing the authentication on our side. Now that I feel like would be point one. The point two would be that the tabular kind of like names that you have, we have a list view also. We need to create like some sort of a custom ID, so we match. So that means the name A equals to name A in Mapsted system. Once that matching is done, then we will be able to correlate that data. So that means whenever you change anything on your side, it will automatically update on our side. But I just wanted to clarify on the point one, that integrating this entire application as an iframe inside your application, would that kind of like suffice your purpose?
Would that include everything on this tab here as well with all the edit functions,
Yes.
not only this map here?
Yes, everything. Just think about this thing that you will be looking at like a complete kind of like portion rather than looking at manage.maps.com. You will be inside your application.
Okay, give me a second here. Billy, if integrating using iframe for this entire batch here, would that be a problem for you?
I think there's no problem. But as you say, all those widget icon will be displayed inside the iframe. Am I correct?
Correct. So this entire application, you're going to just basically embed it inside your own applications. The thing which we'll be handling will be the authentication. So you don't have to authenticate multiple times. Once you authenticate from your side, it will be authenticated.
Okay, got it. But I have a question because I saw some icon like a logout setting and a bell icon on top right corner. Is those icons still exist after I embed the iframe into our own back office system?
Yeah, so basically these things will be kind of like, we'll see if we can hide any of that aspect. But the idea is this thing that because we're literally looking for every application, right, that is already designed. So APIs usually help if it's just like a one-off kind of like thing. But if you're looking at edit, create map overlays, other things, all that other aspect, it's much easier to just embed that application inside it rather than creating everything again using APIs.
Okay. I think I understand. So it's just for point one, right? The 4-pan one. We have to embed the iframe into our system for displaying the 4-pan, but for all other data update like the defining shop, like display name or shop number.
Here, right? So that we need to just plan it out, that what is the best way of doing it. And after the call, we can basically discuss internally and kind of like get back to you. That would be the updating the text information. However, for the other applications, like, it would be kind of like better to kind of like call this entire thing as an iframe.
If I understood correctly, it is possible, but it is not readily available at the moment. It will take some time for your side to develop and this aspect as well.
So we're using the same APIs that we basically showed to you for kind of like our internal applications too. It's just that when we have to expose it outside, every customer has a different request, right? So for this specific case, we just need to do that matching for one time so that we know what is event area in your kind of like thing and what is event area in Mapsted. So that piece, we need to figure it out. Regarding the APIs or the technically feasible, that's kind of like doable, but it is not something that like, it's like out of box functionality. It's more of a custom because your kind of like CRM system is different than, let's say, one of our other customers, right?
And in terms of going back to the first solution of integrating the entire iframe, is there some sort of documentations on this part as well for us to study and have a look at?
we can create a sample code for you. And you can basically then use a sample code kind of like inside your application, so you can see how that would look like.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Param, just a quick question. From what I hear, the one-time task is to map the index from their system to your system. That the one-time task that needs to be done. And as far as you doing the update, you can provide them with a code that they can then start to use, right?
Right.
Okay, please go ahead. Please continue, Michael. Just want to clear that up. That there has to be a link, between your system and their system. It's like a table that matches. I don't know what you use for index in terms of the database that you have to maintain this, but that index has to be mapped into that Brian's talking about. But you understand that, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. Then what about the level of customizability of the UI? For example, hiding of buttons, colors, how it looks, and all that sort of stuff.
So there are two things, right? If you're looking for only one specific kind of like module, then it is feasible, because then we can open up those APIs for the let's say public. In this case, public means you, and then you are able to kind of like change all of that aspect based upon your thing. But based upon my understanding right now, we're looking to literally use each and every functionality in Managed CMS, but embed that inside your application, right? For that, the level of customizability would be 0, because then, literally, like, it's more of a white labeling, which we don't offer. And there are so many modules in the Managed CMS that if we have to change each and every icon, it's like creating the whole new application from the start. We can definitely plan it out in a way that, like, if there are certain like scoped out kind of like project, we can say that, okay, well, this is what we can do it immediately, this is what we can do it in 3 months and 6 months kind of like stuff. Like, if it was just one module, then it was easier kind of like to open up those things. But if it's like completely everything in Managed CMS, then it just doesn't make any business sense on our side.
Okay, understood. So Billy, I think you're pretty clear on the first point on the iframe. Do you have any questions in regards to like the syncing on how we're gonna set that up? Like syncing of data on the names, the icons. Is there anything you want to know on that part?
I just have a few more questions. So how about the after I embed the item? So is any I still need to click some anchor for login, or
Yes.
I just embed the item? Yeah.
Right now, we basically have a single sign-on, so that could be basically linked with your own domain ID.
Okay, so we can do the SSO, just embed the item directly, then we are already logged in, right?
Exactly. Or we can basically do it in a way that, like, the person does a single sign-on when they click on that thing, so it's just a double authentication.
Okay. So
we don't want to, like, by mistake something, somebody changes anything. So we want like a single, like, we want that authentication again, if possible.
Okay. Oh, so please, if possible, please give us the documentation, because it seems not in the public documentation. So yeah, thank you.
No, what we'll do is this thing, we'll create a sample application for you. Where we can basically explain you very clearly, like, how you can embed this, how the single sign-on works, and then we have all these instructions, everything in our Mapsted hub, which will basically explain to.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Next question, Michael. I think you're talking about
testing.
Testing, yes.
Got it. So our next part is in regards to testing, because there's two teams here, Param. There's the Thailand team and there's the Hong Kong team. And the Hong Kong team is handling the integration and testing for this wayfinding feature. And they're wondering, how can they test locally, to test the turn left, turn right, the location, actually moving step by step with the device.
And this team is basically on site at the property, or they're outside?
No, they're in another country. They're in Hong Kong, and this property is in Thailand.
Okay. Got it. So we basically have our Mapsted Maps web aspect, where we can basically give you, after this call, where you can kind of like see all those functionalities. We also have a way of simulating it in the mobile SDK. We can even provide that. So in short, what we'll do is this thing will give you like a web platform where you can, see the instructions and everything kind of like using the web platform. And then we'll also give you how you can simulate it using a mobile experience, and that we will give it to you too.
Okay, we'll wait for that, and we need to study it first.
Of course.
Oh, sorry. I want to make sure one thing. Is it support the live tracking, live position tracking, like
The live tracking is basically happening in the facility, right? So whenever we are basically outside the facility, we can only simulate, right? So on the web and on the mobile, we will be able to simulate that experience, that how that tracking is happening, what are the instructions, how is the routing happening, everything like that. However, to do the live position, where you can see the live turn by turn instructions, but we have we will basically send you the ways to simulate it. So simulate basically means that you shake your phone, then you can feel like how the experience looks like. Does it make sense?
Sorry. So what you mean is for the real-time positioning is still available even we are not in the actual place.
Let me jump in here, Param.
Sure.
You can equate this to, say, acquiring a position with GPS. If you're trying to acquire a position, you have to be in that location. Otherwise, you'd have to fake it. But in our case, the indoor location engine would be loaded to the platform that you're using, say, mobile phone. So that mobile phone needs to be in situ in order for it to tell the engine where it is. Otherwise, you're just loading positions, and it's not like GPS. It's not. You said a little while ago about a fake position. So you can do the routing, and you can simulate walking along the route, but they're just following the route just to tell you, and it'll give you instructions to turn left and turn right. But this is a simulation. In this project, the only implementation we have is for navigation, for live tracking of individuals. But of course, it's the same technology that will replace the GPS indoor. Okay, so if you're talking about testing routing capabilities, you could do that on the web by telling it a starting point and ending point, and it'll route for you. It'll show the route. And if you had the actual application, that's exactly what it'll show to you. So we're kind of a little bit, and this has nothing to do with CMS, right? CMS is about updating the database. You're talking about testing, and the testing, we can help you. We can if you put up something and you tell it to route, we'll be happy to work with you to send our people to the location and test it out. So maybe we're talking on two different levels here. CMS is one thing, but testing of the routing, you can do the testing of the ability to route on a web application. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. I understand what you mean. But our concern is not about the routing. Routing is from point A to point B is static. It won't change it even how many distance I walk, right? So what we want to do is the real-time tracking. But since you already answered us, is not able to do it with the fake GPS or some GPS software, right?
Right. We're not making up the location.
Understand.
We're used with a sense to actually point to the location within the location engine once it's been calibrated, and for the PARQ it's been calibrated. Okay, but if you need to test something, your application, we're happy to work with you. We're happy to take it and work with you, real time if you need.
Yeah. I think this the only way for us to test, right? Just really to go on site, right?
Right.
Okay, understand.
We can share you some videos and other aspects too, so that you can see how that experience looks like too, if that's helping.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If that's for the testing questions, we do have another question. It's that we noticed that on the documentation, it wrote that the JDK version has to be 11 and above. Is that a must, or can it be lower?
It is a must for the best experience. It works for the lower versions as well. However, there might be some performance issues. So performance issues is that the positioning and the whole other app functionalities would not be as optimal as possible.
Meaning it would just be laggy, or would it not work?
It might go into that unexpected behavior where it can do X number of things. So it is one of those things that, as these things gets updated from the Apple side, the recommendation is to make sure that we are basically updating it too.
Okay. The Hong Kong side are clear on this?
Yes, but I still want to know, is any way allow us to emulate it in Hong Kong? Because it feels a bit painful for both of you and us, right?
No, I mean, to simulate it, you would be able to basically, see the experience stuff. In the SDK, you do have the simulation method where you can basically do it. But see, it is going to be a simulation, right? It's not going to be the real positioning. Just want to make it clear.
Right. Bill, let me make a suggestion here that we take this step at a time. When you get to that point, we'll be happy to work with you to see if we can get what you need in terms of the testing. But we may be jumping ahead here. But as I said, we have already tested, and I think through the navigation application that Mapsted provides at this point in time, you can actually get not a simulation, but actually a real experience by going to the location. So if you have, and we can record that for you to see what the results are, and then we can work with you to do that. But it's a lot more problem to set up a simulation that actually, because the location, the venue is already has been calibrated. We can go there and do an actual routing, and if something goes wrong, we work with Mapsted to make the correction. It could be some parameters within the navigation application itself, or it could be something that we work on the back end with the calibration engineers to fix that. So I understand you're trying to get to the best experience for the end users, but we'll be happy to work with you.
Okay, got it.
Hey guys. This is Gabriel. I'm basically the founder of the Thailand team and also the Hong Kong team. Yeah, I think what we're trying to get to here is have you ever been like, have you ever worked with like such a situation before where like the venue is actually not at the same location with the development team? Has that been happened before? Has that happened before?
You mean like the
venue,
venue
let's say
is
like
somewhere
in
else
this case, like the venue is in Thailand, but the development team is in Hong Kong. Like, has this happened before?
It happens every single time.
Yeah. So
Because
I think like the best way is like I think it's kind of like what you guys suggested. You guys can walk us through how this has been done before, because like you guys definitely have the experience on how to make
definitely.
this happen. And then since like you have many showcases before, we are actually pretty confident that like through the steps or the process, I think it's gonna be okay. But I think like what you guys mentioned before, we might be a little bit ahead of ourselves. The only thing that I need to know is like you guys have done it before, so you guys can actually do the lead to lead us through the process. And then the second thing is we do have a team in Thailand. So, you know, going to the actual venue to kind of do some kind of testing, it's also feasible from our side. But I think what Billy was concerned about is trying to make the development like more like smoother, basically. Like we have done projects before in which like every time we have to test, we have to arrange someone to go to the physical venue and then to test the cases. It's gonna be a little bit of like, you know, like waiting here and there and everything. But again, I trust you guys that you guys had like the experience before. So I would suggest that maybe like you guys can let us know like what are the steps like, or like how was the flow before when you work with other projects like with similar situations as well. Like you guys can let us know.
No, definitely. I think what we can do is the thing we can kind of connect internally, and then Saksri can basically explain what would be the best method to do that.
Yeah, but I do trust that you guys have done it before. So we still have a little bit concerned, but we will just follow your lead.
Right. If I may, Graham, we see this as separate issues. The CMS is one issue; it's already done. But the other part is to making sure that the end users have the best experience, and that's basically is to make the navigation software, you know, works well within the parameter given. And if there are glitches in their experience, it either comes the setting of the parameter, or maybe something needs to be refined.
Sorry. I don't. It's not this situation. We believe that like by working together, we should be able to achieve that for the end user. We're just right now. We're just talking about the development process, like how we can be testing this in a more efficient way. So it's more like in the development stage.
Okay, Gabriel, can you give us a specific test scenario that you would like to see, for example?
Let's say we have developed a feature, like let's say we have completed the implementation. We would need like people to be testing it, right? So like you know how like software development works. I mean, everybody here does. So there might be like issues in which like we have to fix a little bit, and then there might be edge cases and stuff like that. We don't want it like it be the case that like every time we fix a little bit of something, we have to send somebody to the actual venue to test whether it's working. So yeah, if kind of way we can actually test everything on our side in Hong Kong first before sending someone there to do the actual test, that would be the best. So that like we don't have to waste time of the guy going to the actual venue. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like basically like keep testing and like debugging.
Yeah, so Gabriel, basically for that positioning, you will be able to test all of those things kind of like using our SDK. We do have some tools where you can do it. Now definitely the inhuman kind of like in-person kind of like testing, we can kind of like assist you in that way, and then we can basically discuss that how we can do it. But with the SDK development, you can basically test all of those things too.
Yeah, so yeah, that would be great. Like, so what we need next is like based on your previous cases in which like the venue and the development in the same country, like perhaps you can like shine some light on how you guys did it before with the like overseas vendor. Like that's gonna help, because like if you have done that before, like that we basically just follow that process.
I think for both the CMS integration and testing case, the team here is still missing a lot of documentations. I think for the next step, it will be good to see like all these simulation, all these documentation first. And I believe after we receive everything, the team will have a better idea on what to do.
Oh, but like please be reminded that like we are operating under a pretty tight time frame right now. So like I would also want to know like on average like for like an integration for a project, like how long, like what's the turnaround time normally?
See, normally our customers use our standard out-of-box kind of like integration that is normally done in 1 to 2 business days. Now,
Wow,
if you're
cool.
looking for customization, then it can go from 15 days, 1 month, 3 months, depending upon how many functionalities you're adding, right? Or how much customization you're doing. That
Yeah,
completely depends
so
on the scope.
in this case, we have already mentioned like, okay, so there's going to be an iframe that will embed your existing system in there, and we're going to do the SSO, and we might have to, actually we do have to do the backend like ID syncing, ID mapping, that kind of things. So like in this case, do you have an estimate how long it's going to take for us to clear all the initial process and get this
It should
ready?
be pretty quick. We will discuss it after this call internally and then kind of like give you the timelines along with the sample code.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because if we give you the sample code, that basically means that you copy that thing inside it and then done, right? So if there's no error, then it's pretty quick. Now, if there is any error, then we will definitely assist you. But let us kind of like have that discussion internally, and then we'll give you a proper timeline.
Sure. Okay, so a couple of things, like, so you guys will have an internal discussion, you'll get back to us on the lead time, and then you will give us sample codes or additional documentations. The third thing is like what I mentioned just now, like if there's any sample workflow flow that you have basically done with like foreign, like overseas developer before, like that would be helpful for us too. Like, so we understand how do we like make the development process more smooth.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically from that's basically what's from me. Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. So actually, anything you would like to add?
Yes, just to make sure that that Gabriel understands, we're providing a complete navigation software and system that you would only need to link to it. This is separate from the CMS. CMS is already finished, okay? And in that process of the software, that's the software with the venue. Okay, so we've already done the calibration, we've tested it, and it will be similar to you using a package that's available for outdoor navigation like Google. What do you need to test there? It's within the I would say linking to it, the internal workings and everything. We've done all the testing already for you. In other words, we've already calibrated venue, we've tested it with the navigation system, it works. If you go and test it and you have problems that we missed, then Mapsted and us will fix that up for you. So I'm kind of a little bit lost as to what you want to test on the venue.
Yeah. Well, I fully understand. It's fine. Okay. Like, so in other words, like what you're saying is like basically most of the stuff are kind of like out of the box, except for the like the CMS part. So meaning that like the intermediate testing or like the in between testing, like it's not quite necessary, because like once you have calibrated everything, everything should work smoothly, right?
Yes.
Yeah, is that what you're saying, right? So
Yeah.
it's fine. It's fine. I understand that part. But then, like, we just want to make sure this is gonna be the case. So that's why I want to kind of understand like the workflow like between overseas vendor before. So if you're saying okay, like in the cases before, like everything is smooth, like basically like we just have to use your system, and then like after calibration, everything is gonna just work fine. Then it's okay. It's okay. We're like, of course, that's even better for us. Like we're just saying like there are concerns from us before when doing like certain like IoT and other systems that like frequent testing or frequent calibration is needed. If this is not the case, like we're happy to know this as well. So that's why like I just want to know from you guys like how this was done before. But yeah, like what you said, if usually it's like super smooth, then like yeah, it's great. It's great. Like we're happy to know that.
Okay. Let me draw you an example, if I can, Gabriel, equating this to an outside map. So we provide maps to automobile companies for their navigation system, and some of these are Japanese companies. So the testing, now first we provide the map, and the map is ingested into the system. But the end testing comes in the venue where we have to actually drive a lot of roads to find out if there are particular problems either with the software or the map itself. And indoor is no difference. We have to do a lot of testing. And the other thing I might add to this is the difference is in Mapsted system, it's a self-learning as well. So it's more people using it, then it ingests more data, and it gets it uses algorithms and AI to make corrections, and the experience should improve. So to answer your question, we have to do a lot of testing before we turn it over, and we've done a lot already. But I can't say what's enough. We'll be working with Mapsted to make sure that it passes Mapsted's internal quality control. Okay.
Yeah, cool. So I think what you meant here is once we have successfully integrated with your system, then the calibration part will be basically passed on to you guys as long as we have a successful integration.
Yeah.
So it's almost like either 1 or 0. Like if either is not integrated perfectly or it's integrated perfectly. But once we have done a successful integration, then it's up to you guys to continue calibrating the thing. And up to that point, we are pretty much done from our side. So there's no need of like further back and forth with the integration team, right? It's down to the calibration process, right?
Right. But if I may, it's no different than using an app like Line and then calling for a navigation system using Google or Apple or something. Your part is to integrate to that. The internal workings, so whether it's Apple or Google, it's a responsibility of us. In this case, it would be Mapsted. When you call Mapsted, it's our job to make sure that the venue is calibrated and it's working perfectly for the navigation. There's no other control that you need or you need to be involved in to do that, except if you have
so our obligation is to make sure the integration is successful.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Not to test the calibration. I mean, you have to test it ultimately by experience within the menu. That's why if you're in Hong Kong, you can't test it. If you're going to drive, if you provide you map of Bangkok or Thailand, you can't test it in Hong Kong. You have to bring the car. And that's what the Japanese do with us. They bring the car here. They put their systems in. Usually we rent a car, and they put their navigation system in. We've done this with Honda. And Honda drives many kilometers in Thailand before they turn it over to the end users. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm clear. I'm crystal clear right now. So we we just have to make sure the integration is successful, and then we will pass it on to you guys.
That's right. If there's a problem, then Mapsted and us will fix it. And we can't say there's no problem, as you know. There will be problems, but and the same thing, we do the same thing with the Japanese. When there's a problem, say they come to an intersection, and it's supposed to tell them to turn so many meters for the turn. It's either with the software or with the map itself. The same thing here.
Yeah.
Guarantee you 100% the work right off the bat, but we'll guarantee you that, with Mapsted working with us, the end product will be satisfactory.
Got it. So I'm very clear. So the fine tuning part, it's not our obligation. Yeah,
that's right.
Understand that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Graham. Anything?
Just one last question is so when do you think you guys can get back to us on this? Because we do want to wrap this up pretty soon, and then get this done with.
Right. So you can start turning over the application to the end users, the people who visit the venue, right? So okay, I'm gonna ask Fran to answer that question.
Yeah, so after this call, we're going to have a discussion with our team, give us 1 or 2 days, and then we'll basically send you this detailed response with the sample code and the other things so that you have a proper understanding.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot.
Excellent. No, thank you, Saskari, for explaining all that issue too, and thank you, Gabriel, for your questions. And would love to answer any other things if anybody else has.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions, either from our team, Hong Kong team, or the PARQ team?
Yes, Peter. Let me jump in here because there is another requirement. I think Kun Anthony asked me to ask the team in the meeting today. At One Bangkok, we have several buildings, especially the residence unit. Let me bring up the screen here. Hold on.
Sorry, I didn't hear the questions. Bandit.
Hold on.
No, there wasn't a question yet. He's about to bring up a screen.
Okay.
So, oh, sorry, I couldn't bring it on screen. I need to set up on the permission. So anyway, let me explain you. We have almost 51 floors for residential unit. All of them will have their own private lift or the elevators. Once they are living in the room, we would like them to use the mobile application for One Bangkok to invoke or call the lift within the mobile applications. So right now, there are 2 types of the bedroom, 3 bedroom and 2 bedrooms. So for the penthouse, of course, there will be 2 rooms next to each other. And the question is that we would like them, the residents, to call the lift within their own area. So I'm not sure if we use the Mapsted to pinpoint the geolocations and let them to determine, we are living in this building and we would like them to call the lift by floor. Is that possible, Kapunet?
Okay, if I understand correctly, Brian, the One Bangkok team wants to be able to use the location from Mapsted to pinpoint the floor.
Right.
They would like to call the elevator to. Okay, so in Mapsted, basically, and I think you said from their living space. Okay, so normally we do the calibration for the public area. Okay, we don't actually go into individual bedrooms to do that. So, but the floor itself, the the number of floor, we should know through some of the sensors what floor they're on. So I assume that they can call the lift to that floor without having to know the exact location on the floor. I think, Param, you may want to address on this. This is not something that we've had heard of a requirement before, but Bandit just brought it up. It's maybe a possibility of using Mapsted's set of parameters with the sensors they have specifically for calling a lift to a floor. Okay, so
definitely, I think essentially to your point, right? Like I see the image too. So basically, if we are in that floor and I inside and I want to basically call a lift, we will be able to give you the function where we basically give you the floor detection. It won't detect the position; it will detect the floor. Now, and then with that API, you can basically call those lifts and every other things.
Right. I think the key parameter is that when they walk out the public area, certainly we can do that. But I just heard he said, well, calling from the bedroom. Well, okay, that would be at best floor location, right?
And I think in these cases, the floor location would be there. That also like the signals can kind of like pass through the walls and the other things. So we will be able to detect the floor. However, the worst case scenario, if a person just takes one step outside, we will be able to detect with a very good accuracy.
Right.
So perhaps what kind of geolocation or magnetic something else that you will help us go through to determine the location exactly?
Yeah, so we basically use a multiple kind of like data points using your sensors in the phone, magnetic field, kind of like the Wi-Fi distribution, the other kind of like building parameters. The key output which we will basically give you is the floor detection and the building. So you will know exactly where the person is located.
So the thing is that like we have two bedrooms like this. We have the foyer here. When we get out from the room, of course, we can access to the lift or the private lift for their residents. So I would like them to call the lift inside any certain area on this floor plan, So basically, previously, we would like to install the beacon at the front of the foyer, but the thing is that they will have limited lift calling functions. But the salesperson would like them to call any place in their living room here or another place. The same thing with two bedrooms. This is one floor plan. The entire floor plan will have 3 bedrooms.
Right.
So I'm not sure it will be applicable using Mapsted with.
No, definitely it will be applicable. We don't need the beacons to be installed here. The digital signals will be enough if the requirement is to just get the floor detection.
All right, cool. Because I think, Kunet, you might communicate directly with Kun Anthony to confirm this solution will be practical. I will inform you tomorrow.
Right.
Saksiri would be the key person to kind of like get involved there, and then they can basically have that discussion and then kind of like involve us accordingly.
Sure.
Right. But I'd be happy to explain to Anna. Basically, calling an elevator is for it to come to a floor, not to a specific location on that floor. So all we need to know is what floor you're on, and Mapsted will be able to do that even without the calibration in that particular area. And we don't do that, within the private area. We'll at least be able to tell, what floor you're on. Pretty close. It'd be better if it's like Param said, if he stepped out and we could get all the reading from the others as well. But I think, I don't want to commit to this 100%. We have to test, and maybe we need to do some additional fine tuning, but it's definitely within the realm of possibility.
True.
Okay.
All right, so that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Param. I'll be back in touch, and maybe we need to have a short conversation tomorrow and the next day before we put together a package for the PARQ team.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Very nice connecting with you again.
พวกเราเข้า HID. Thank you.ขอบคุณครับ
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Gabriel. Question, please make sure to pass it on to us. We don't need a meeting all the time. We'll be happy to answer questions. We'll pass it on to Mapsted. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
HID.